Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy
Yeah.
Monday.
I am not in a wind tunnel. It just seems that way.
Yes, you are.
So if you
We're
hear it,
blown
it's
away.
it gets really windy here where I am, and for some reason the front of the house, which is where I'm in the front part of the house, like it just whips around the you can hear it. It just like whips around the house, and I'm like,
It's a cool sound, though.
it's weird. It's very odd. Yeah, and it's not.
I feel like
even
you're going to tell us a story now.
It's not even like bad weather out or anything. It's really nice out, so I don't know. It's so weird.
Gather round, boys and girls.
Gather around, everybody. We're going to tell a story. We're going to tell a story.
Of letting go and letting go.
So how was your weekend? How was your Mother's Day? Happy
so
Mother's
relaxing.
Day.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. It was relaxing. I just laid in the bed literally all weekend and relaxed.
I laid in the bed all weekend because I got my second COVID shot on Friday, and it kicked my ass. Like, I literally was driving home from the shot, and I was like, the biggest headache in my world hit me. So really? I came home, got changed, and like crawled into bed, and I stayed there until like yesterday. I think yesterday was the first day. Lots of weirdo side effects, but whatever, it is what it is. I kept saying, no matter what it is, it's got to be better than COVID. It's got to be better than COVID. I think it stops when they get your chip calibrated correctly. That's when I don't
know. The calibration probably, it's whatever it is, like moving up to the base of your spine, and then
is that what it is? Okay.
That's my assumption. I don't know, but I don't know if it's worse than COVID or not. Like, COVID wasn't that. Well, I shouldn't say this. It wasn't terrible for me.
Well, that's good.
Mine was, although it had me bugging for 2 weeks though.
Yeah. I mean, you got a nice and mild case of it.
Yeah, it was mild. I just had my cough. I still have the lingering cough though.
Yeah, I hope that goes away soon.
I know.
I'm gonna have to soundproof this window, I guess, apparently. Or we're gonna have to not have it on a windy night. I think it's just so weird. Anywho, don't mind me.
If you won't scream, I won't holler. That's what my mom always used to say. If you won't scream, I won't holler.
So how's your Monday going?
My Monday, I did not have the most productive Monday in history. I've had more, but it was okay. I did go for a walk. I'm back to walking every day.
Oh, awesome.
Or most days of the week. And I finished up my walk today. I work from home, but I live across the street from my job. And so I'm walking around. I walk around my job because it's a safe, clean, well-lit area, and the sidewalks are nice and everything. And as I'm just finishing up and on my way home, there goes my boss. Like, I'm like, hey,
what's up? You should be working right now.
I love my boss. I have the best boss. I'm very fortunate. That's
my lemon cucumber water. It's very lemony.
I just have plain water.
Yeah, I'm detoxic.
Good old plain Minneapolis tap water. I'll take it.
I'm on a detox.
I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm not. No, I'm really not.
What are you letting go of?
Nothing. I have a functioning set of kidneys, a functioning spleen, and a functioning liver. So I don't need to detox on anything. I don't need to detox in any way, shape, or form. I just sometimes I need to be a little bit enticed to finish my gallon of water a day. So I throw some stuff in there and hopefully. So you see the bear behind me?
I see that bear.
Like, oh my God, that's my day today. That's been my day all day. It's just like a gigantic face palm.
Gigantic photo bomb.
Yeah, I just everybody's in a crappy mood today. It's like the Mondayest Monday ever that ever Mondayed. I don't really know why.
Aww.
I think we all just woke up in the wrong side of the bed. I think. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What you call it? Like, the kids didn't want to go to school. I was no one wanted to get up. It was just one of those like
Mondays.
Yeah, it was a Monday.
Well, school's almost out, so
thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
How many more weeks?
Well, it's supposed to be the 28th, but I have a feeling at the end of this week it's going to be like officially
the end of this week.
Like the schoolwork part, I think, is officially going to be over. Like, at least I just read an email from my first graders teacher who said, like, after the 14th, they're done doing the online curriculum. So I don't know if they're going to like play around or watch video. I don't know what they're going to do for the last week, but I think after this week, it's kind of like they're just not doing anything. Like, this is the last week of like they're doing
having to focus. And
yeah, my oldest is doing like a writing assessment and a reading assessment this week. And then I think that's like officially the end of it. But like I like officially ended it 2 weeks ago because I was done. I was like, I'm not doing any projects. We're done doing projects. So I don't care. You can take 0 for that. I don't care. Because I'm tired of doing projects. And every subject has a project. And I was like, no. And they're a little over the top for me. So I said no to that. And sorry, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't
yeah, I mean, I can't be, they're the type of projects that if they were doing them in class together, it would make more sense. But this is like, to me, it's just a little much to ask from like a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old to do. So I'm just like, no, we're finished with that. We're done here. So we're done. We're going to finish up this week and we're done.
You call the shots.
I'll let them. I mean, whatever. I don't even know. Like, we're gonna have to do some work over the summer with them, but I'm not. They already asked me if I wanted to put them into the summer program. I was like, fuck no, I don't. It's like, no, the fuck I do not. Nope. So, yeah. So that's where we are. That's where we're at in my house. We're just like face palming today. So hopefully tomorrow we'll all be in better moods. So anyway, today's topic is letting go. Now, this is your topic, which is fine. Because normally we agree on a topic and then I go do like all this research and I'm like, oh, they go, no. Because I don't know, like, I know what the concept of letting go is. Like, I agree with the concept of letting go. I've definitely said to people or myself they have to let things go. I've definitely sung that god awful song at least several times.
I've never seen that movie.
Let me tell you something. This is just a 5-second aside. So before COVID, I worked in a daycare center, and every day I watched Moana. That was the movie that they went to sleep to during nap time. Every single day. I have seen that movie, like, no joke, over 100 times.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
My work stepson, he loved that movie, and before he could speak, he could sing the songs of Moana before he could stand. So I love that movie, and I have like little video clips of him like trying to sing Moana. So sweet.
And we try to get them to watch, like, what do you call
anything
it?
else,
Frozen or
never
Feeding
seen it.
the Beast or something, and they just never. They would only watch Moana. That's the only thing. I'm like, okay. So I've seen that movie a bajillion times.
Take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. Yep. So, what is your like? How are you defining or how are you envisioning letting go in our scenario today? Like, what do you lay it on?
Okay. I feel like, let me just make sure I'm comfortable here because, it's a lot to talk about.
Comfort is important.
Yes, when you're letting go.
Yes.
So if you are new to this podcast, I'm the one with the binge eating disorder. So I have been working very diligently for almost a year now with a therapist and a dietitian to deal with my issues surrounding food. And before that, I worked very diligently to lose weight. I have been overweight my whole life. And so when I talk about letting go, one of the things that I talk with my therapist about on a fairly regular basis is this idea that right now I'm not just working on weight loss when I work on dealing with my binge eating disorder. I work on my mental health and my overall health, and I can't work on everything at the same time. So what I'm working on right now, or what I may have to do in the course of my recovery, is let go of some things, and like let go of the idea, maybe for now and for an indefinite amount of time, letting go of the idea of losing weight,
Right.
or letting go of the idea of being the ubiquitous skinny legend,
Yeah.
letting go of the idea of ideal body weight, letting go of any preconceived notions of what my body's going to look like, because I've never been a normal body weight. I went from being a starving 7-year-old who had tonsils that overlapped and I couldn't swallow, to not having tonsils and being able to swallow anything I wanted, and being overweight. You know, I went from being underweight to being overweight in under a year, and never having really a set point, you know, for weight
Right.
that stayed anywhere for more than a couple of years. I would gain weight and I would level out. I would sit at, like, I sat at 220 from the time I was 16 until that time I was about 23.
Mm.
Gained about 40 pounds between 23 and 25, got pregnant. Whew. The rest was history. Like,
Yep.
so, and you know, dieting. I started dieting in my 30s, and I mean, we all know, like, we did do okay, so this is the difference between when Mary does the research for the show and when I do the research for the show. We did do research. And I do have, and we will put links in the description for some of the research that we did on body weight and set point, because I think that when we talk about like weight loss and dieting, I think that set point is something that is very important to discuss or to take into consideration, because I think we, you know, homeostasis and biology and the way our bodies operate, it is a fact. Like, our body looks to have a place to sit and be comfortable for a while.
Right.
But it's interesting that there are people who can, like, you know, they were 150 pounds when they graduated from high school, and by the time they're 60, they might be 170 pounds. Like, they stay pretty much in their set weight, like, for most of their adult life. And then there's people like us who, for whatever reason, like, just our set point just continues to rise. And so ouch. Yeah. I'm sitting in the chair and Gladys just bites me because I have to talk with my hands. I don't appreciate that.
So there is an article that we found that gives a very nice kind of summation for everybody who's doesn't know what the concept of a set point is or set pointing is. It's from the Journal of Nutrition, and it's called Body Weight Set Points, Determination and Adjustment. And let me just give you this little brief, like, what it is. It says it's proposed that body weight, like body water and body temperature, is physiologically regulated. In the case of body weight, coordinated adjustments in both the intake and expenditure of energy serve to stabilize the weights of individuals at a specified level and to resist their displacement from this level. Obese individuals also display these behavioral and metabolic adjustments to weight perturbations and thus appear to actively resist efforts to reduce their weight from the elevated levels they ordinarily display. Experimental studies of genetically transmitted and diet-induced forms of obesity in animals similarly suggest a view of obesity as a condition of body energy regulation at an elevated set point. An individual's set point for regulated body weight is apparently adjustable, shifting over a lifespan in conjunction with naturally occurring, but still unspecified physiologic changes. So it's the idea that our bodies will find a weight that it's comfortable with and will stick around there. So like based between what we're eating and what we're doing, there's a balance that keeps us at a pretty stabilized weight. And I guess it's suggested that for people who are obese, that set point is just higher than other people's.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the concept of it.
I absolutely agree with that. Like before I regret dieting so much. Like, I wish that I could have been okay with just being where I was before I started dieting. Like, I remember seeing a photograph of myself when I graduated from respiratory therapy school and just being like astonished at how big I was. And I wish that I could have found a way to be okay with where I was at that point.
Right.
Because when I think back to just a few years ago when I discovered intermittent fasting and the keto diet, and I did so good at it. I lost like 70 pounds. I felt great. I had no joint pain. I was doing CrossFit. I was doing all this stuff. And then last year, like 2020 happened to me. Like it happened to everybody else. And everybody, you know, I'm only living my life. But like I gained 70 pounds, you know, like the weight had already started to creep back on from the 70 that I lost. So like I had already gained back like 30 of my 70. So really, I've gained 100 pounds.
Right.
And my set point is where I don't even want to call it that, but like where my body is comfortable right now is the highest it's ever been. And what I have to let go of is like all of that like regret that I, you know what I mean? Like, I have to just like, and I have to let go of like, no intermittent fasting for me. Like, I can't just go 2 days without eating and like think that my body is not going to, one, recognize that I haven't eaten for 2 days, and two, compensate for that. And there's going to be consequences for that, right? Like, and three, I'm going to binge. So, because I don't have the proper, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. I'm not at a point in my recovery where I can restrict my calories or restrict a food group or restrict whatever to do that yet. Like it'll come one day, but like letting go and not being angry and not being jealous of other people, finding other things to do in place of weight loss that are just as healthy, that are just as beneficial for me. And I think that when you're morbidly obese like I am, that like all people because all people can see is your size, right? They don't see the rest of your struggle. They don't see the other things that are going on with you.
Well, all they see is your size, and they automatically assume that, you know, it's your fault. You can control this. This is you did this to yourself. I mean, like, to an extent that is true, but there are like way other extenuating circumstances that, you know, compound that issue to create the overeating or the binge eating or whatever. It's not that simple. And I think that if there's anything that diet culture has really, really, really fucked up, aside from this whole like what we figure a normal looking body should be, it's that it's kind of normalized this idea that weight loss is just so simple. Like it's just, stop eating. Stop
calories
eating
in, calories out.
I mean,
Eat less,
it's calories
more.
in, calories out, but there's like 27 asterisks on that, right? I mean, so
and in addition to that, like if you have, we talked about this, I think didn't we talk about this last week? Like if you have 20 pounds to lose or 30 pounds to lose, and you think that losing that weight is going to fix everything that's wrong with you, you're wrong. And the same goes for me. I have at least 200 pounds to lose at this point. Yeah. But losing that weight is not going to fix the issues that I have.
Right.
With food or with my self-confidence, self-esteem, this, that, the other, relationships.
Yeah. I mean,
people.
I've lost over 200 pounds and don't. And I still like have issues with my self-esteem, with depression, with other, it did not
your body image.
It did not magically fix anything in my life other than I might feel better. Like I feel physically better. But as far as like mentally, yes, I don't like, I'm not as negative about my self-image as I was prior. But I mean, in some ways, it's like, it doesn't change. It's just what you focus it on now is just different. It transforms into something else. So where I might be paying attention to one thing now, then I'm looking at something else now. It's like, it never ends. It's like all this focus on your body, it's never ending. So therapy is what you need for that.
And then when you look at somebody and you see, all you see is their 400 or their 500 or their 600 pounds, and you're like, why aren't you trying to lose weight? Why aren't you trying to lose weight? Because why aren't you trying to mind your own business? Like, I don't wake up with you every day. Like, you don't know what I'm doing. I'm letting go of weight loss being the most vital, only thing that I need to do in order to be my best self right now. In order to be my best self, I need to get ready to lose weight first.
Right. And I think another thing, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, you just made me think, like, while you were explaining that, is that I think something else we have to let go of more so for our own sanity is, this concept that, and I know we probably do to an extent, but I think we also don't, because I think we let it bother us. But I think it's like we have to let go of this idea that people who are not overweight, who have never had a weight issue at all, are going to understand this perspective, right? Of like what we deal with, what it's like to, whether it's a disordered eating, unhealthy relationship with food or dieting, whether it's, just the fact that we're trying to get our house in order before we can move on. It's like we have to let go of this idea that people are going to automatically understand that, or like they even think that, because, they don't. Just like you said, that's all they see. And, it's not to say that they won't understand it if we were to express that to them. But, we have to be a little more, I think, charitable to ourselves. And like when somebody says something stupid to us about it, we just have to remind ourselves that this person has probably no idea what we're talking about, like what we're experiencing, unless they've been overweight or been close to somebody who's struggled with weight issues or diet issues or food related issues. Like, they're not going to understand what it's like to live like this, right? And to experience this, and then to have to like make some kind of peace with your body in order to make progress, because they're not thinking about, like, it was like, I had this like thought one day, like a long time ago when I was still really heavily overweight. And I was like, it dawned on me how thin people or people who are just like average weight, they just don't think about their bodies in the same way that we do.
Right.
It's just like, you know, they like with us, I mean, like there are outliers. Yes, there are people who absolutely are thin and have issues and have eating disorders and have all sorts of issues with food and dieting. Like I'm not, but like for the most part, I think people, you know, they're not watching, they don't scrutinize or overthink every single thing that they put in their mouth. They don't overthink how they look in every piece of clothing. They don't, you know, like when you're a larger person, you know, everything in the world is you and interacting with the size of your body, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because that's what people see. And like we talked about last week, the world is not made for bigger people. So, you know, it's constantly a thought. So I just feel, you know, in my way of thinking and dealing with a lot of it is I just don't assume that anybody understands or has any kind of point of view from where I'm sitting, from my perspective, because I know plenty of people who are overweight. I do not know a lot of people who are like 200 and plus pounds overweight like I was. So it's, I don't, you know, I keep saying this, but there's a really huge difference between somebody who's got to lose 20 pounds versus somebody who's got to lose 200 pounds. And, you know, and the way that entire process happens is completely different for each of those people. So I just kind of take it as, okay, you said that stupid thing because you obviously don't understand where I'm coming from. So I'm going to like let that slide. But, you know, if you're willing to have a conversation, we can have a conversation about this. But I'm not going to waste my time with people who don't want to. Like if you're going to just assume, make that really base assumption about me and not care, then I'm not going to bother, you know, trying to even have a conversation about it, because there's no point. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I know for me that I think about, like, it's only been recently, I want to say, that I really started thinking about what I now know would be my set point, because I have been struggling, and struggling, self-sabotaging, struggling, fucking up, not caring, going back and forth on my level of caring. I don't know how to, like, trying to drop, like I can say, these last 40 or 50 pounds on me, right? And like I think, like, let's just, this morning is like the perfect example of this. Like just this weird, just had this, how we had this discussion. Because I was walking the dog and I was thinking about like this. And you know, my mic is making farting and clicking sounds. Is it still making farting and clicking sounds?
Not as much. It was kind of rhythmic for a while, and then now it's kind of stopped.
Okay, that's weird. Great. Can't wait to hear that. So
I might just have like super high quality.
That's what Scott said to me just now.
Oh,
you said that
that's
to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
I still hear some clicks, but it might be my super high quality $50.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't hear anything.
These headphones are super high quality, but like
awesome.
I hear it though.
Okay,
like
because I'm not
sounds
doing
like somebody's
anything.
like rubbing. It
might be me just like tapping around on my desk and stuff.
It could be that too. But you know, these are so much of an upgrade from my $5 earbuds that I was wearing before. So
I didn't change anything. So that might just be it. You might just have better here. So anyway. Anyway, so I was walking the dog today and I was thinking about like this thought of so after I had my surgery in 2018, I had my body lift and everything at the end in December of 2018. And I ended up having, you know, I ended up ending with like almost a 3-month recovery period, because it was just a tremendous surgery and it just took a little longer to recover from. And for a good, like, I would say 95% of that. It probably wasn't until the like the final 3 weeks of it where I was up and around, really moving and stuff like that. I was kind of just like in my recliner, sleeping, resting, not doing much of anything, and didn't have a huge appetite or anything like that. So I like dropped a ton of weight, right? But then I also lost a lot of muscle composition because I wasn't doing anything for 3 months. So I remember looking at, I can even see like pictures of me from then. And I'm like, wow, God, I look so thin, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, for me, I look so thin. And I think I was like 165 or something there. Like I really dropped weight because I was not eating and I wasn't doing anything. So I think about that. And then I'm like thinking, what's my goal here? What do I really, like, what's my real, like, what do I want? Like, if I had, if I could flick the magic wand right now, what do I want? My goal is not thinness. Like, my goal is strength. Like, I know that for me, I like the muscle tone that I have. Like, I like the strength I see. I like seeing my muscles get bigger. I like growing stronger. That's what I like. That physique is what I'm after. That does not lend itself to being like 150 pounds because it's just not going to happen, right? Like, my trainer who has like my former trainer who has the most banging body I've ever seen in my life is like, I weigh 180 to 190 pounds. And I'm like, I don't believe, like, but it's because she's like solid muscle. Right. So those two things are not really going to work together. Like this thinness idea and then this strength and muscular physique idea are really not compatible in the way I think they should be, right? Or would like them to be. So it's just been recently that I'm like, yes, I definitely have places I want to tone up on. I know, like, I see a difference just from not working out for like 2 weeks and like gaining a few pounds. I know, like, I know like those things. So barring that kind of like little fluctuation that annoys me, like, I know that really I don't have like this tremendous amount of weight to lose anymore. I have a tremendous amount of loose skin on my lower body, and I still have loose skin on my abdominal region. And my doctor was even like, we can do more in your arms too. Like, all this can go, which whatever. But I'm like, maybe this is the best it's going to get. And that's got to be okay. Like, maybe this weight is where I have to be. And because what's been stressing me out or pissing me off is that the scale has not been moving. Like, I spent all of March lifting heavier and, working out, and that scale did not move. And I'm like the first person to tell people to throw your scale away, but it pissed me off, right? And now, like, the more I think about it, I'm like, maybe that's just because it's not going to move because you're lifting heavier, your muscles are getting bigger, and you're eating to accommodate that, but you're not going to lose weight. You're just going to, like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to tone up, you're going to build strength, but you're not going to be like this skinny person. And
when did you get your last DEXA scan?
My last what? Oh, my body comp scan? Body comp? No, I haven't had one in a while. I need to get one.
Like, maybe that would help you a lot to see how much skin you have, how much muscle you have, and how little fat you have. Like, because perhaps it doesn't, I mean, it makes complete sense that you would be muscle. Like, this is what you do.
I mean, I always focus on my body fat and my muscle mass. Like, those are always the two numbers I tend to always focus in on. So I'm always usually like, number on scale doesn't mean anything as long as one's going up and the other's going down, right? And so, it's just like, you get frustrated, and I got burnt out, and I can truly say I've been like burnt out for like the last month because it's just a lot to kind of constantly think about and focus on. And I'm tired. I was tired. Yeah. And I'm just now starting to like get my ass back in gear. And right now my priority, like starting like yesterday, was to get my food in order, like to get my eating back on track, because I like let myself get off track. And I know that for me, if I get off track, I have to reel it back in unless I'm going to go really off track. So, and knowing that I'm focusing on that and moving forward, that makes me feel good about the fact that I might not be exercising right now, but at least I'm like working on the food situation, because we all know it doesn't matter how much exercise you do. It's what you put in your mouth that matters. Right. But, it's only just kind of dawned on me, like, maybe this is what it's going to be. And like, no matter how fat I may look right now, I don't weigh another 200 pounds on top of it. I'm like a totally different body type than I was. I look completely different than what I used to look like. And I'm healthier than I was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So
10 years ago.
Yeah. So why am I like ragging on myself so much?
Because you just said a couple weeks ago that you still see a 400-pound woman in the mirror. And that really does skew like, oh, I just got to keep working at it. I just got to keep working at it. Like when you look at yourself and you don't see what you've accomplished, you think you still have so much work to do. Like you've been working on this for a long time. Like, and you have to like let go of that phase and move into the next phase.
And it's like, so stupid in some ways. I just want to smack myself, because I know like if I'm like honest to God, like if I'm laying in my bed, right, and I'm just like laying on my back and I like lift my legs up, right, and I like put my legs up, all my skin sags down. Like I have all this sagging skin because I had huge legs, huge thighs, right, and it's like, and I'm like tucking, and the way I can feel it and touch it, I'm like, it's skin. It's not. It's just skin. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do that's going to make that go away unless I go and have it removed. And it was funny because I had the same concept when I saw a video of me right before I had my body lift. I had a video of myself showing people what I was going to do. And I had like taken my stomach and I was holding, and it like dawned on me in that moment where I saw myself, the way I could like manipulate the skin, that it was so loose and nothing there. And I'm like, this is actually not anything I can do. Like, it's not fat, it's skin. Like, it's not anything that any amount of sit-ups is going to get rid of. This is what it is. And I have to just like get into my head more that that's what's going on the lower part of my body right now, because I haven't done anything to the lower part of my body. Like I feel my quads getting bigger. I see my hamstrings getting bigger, but like I also see all this skin, and I'm like, that I can't do anything about. And it's like beating myself over the head, trying to remind myself, like, you got to have it removed. Like if you want it to be dealt with, it's got to go surgically. Like you can't, there's nothing I can do about it. So, like, you know, it's a real mind fuck. Like it really is. Like, you know, this whole idea of a set point makes a hell of a lot of sense to me when, you know, I see myself busting my ass and pretty much eating pretty well for the amount of exercise I'm doing, spending. Even if I cheated a little bit, I was nowhere near coming close to either. Like it wasn't, the food was not going over the amount of calories it's spending, and still nothing happening. Not seeing anything on the scale, I should say. So yeah, like that is absolutely, we have to let go of this, because I mean, like I feel like I'm having a major epiphany right now.
Yay!
Because, like,
that's good.
So like I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks. Like every now and again in the back of my head, it'd be like, what if this is the best it's going to be? And I'm like, am I really like that upset about it?
The best is awesome. Like that's over 200 pounds. Like this is not the best it's going to be. This is great. Like this is what you've been hoping for and wanting and working towards for 6 years. Congratulations. Like, and you're not at the end. Like, you're not at the end. You are like, you're approaching the hardest part, right? Like, maintenance is a bitch. Like, like, you've achieved what I can't.
40 years of like listening to this bullshit has done is to make it like, it's made it so that
you'll never be able to do
no amount of success is ever enough, right? It's never going to be enough until.
And listening to it
yeah.
has just got you convinced that you're just like the biggest failure. This is all your
Oh,
fault.
absolutely. I get down on
And, you
myself.
know, like,
The first words that Scott said to me this morning when I said, I really don't feel like working out because I'm still not feeling great from the weekend. And, and I'm like, and he said, well, you know, and I'm like, we talked about food getting, he's like, get your food together first. That's important. He's like, but Mary, do not beat up on yourself. He's like, be nice to yourself. He's like, do not do what you usually do to yourself because you're not working out this week. He's like,
love you,
just
Scott.
don't do it.
Love you, Scott.
So I was like, okay. And, you know, it's hard. Like I go there still. I mean,
I feel the same way. Like
I
went
feel
out
like
for my
it's
walk.
my job. Like I feel like this has been something I've been doing so long.
Yes.
Like, this is my job.
And
if
who
I'm not
else is
doing
going to
it,
do
I'm
it
not
better?
doing it. Right. So it's hard.
I went out
it's
for
really
my walk today with a coach from my gym, and I went out the back door, I took the garbage out, and I live literally in the middle of my block. So I got to the end of the block. I'd walked a half a block and my legs were tired and I was out of breath, and I was just furious because I was at a point where I was walking, you know, almost 3 to 5 miles a day, like between 3 and 5 miles every single day. And I would walk with this guy. We would hop on the phone and we'd just talk trash, you know, back and forth with each other. And I would walk 3 miles in an hour with him. Like he'd be like, come on, let's go, you know, and we'd just walk and talk, and I could walk and I could talk and I wouldn't be out of breath. And I couldn't walk a block without huffing and puffing. And I was just so like, I felt like all of my hard work was gone. I gained all this weight. I'm all out of breath. I'm all out of shape. Got COVID. I got, you know, and like all these things happened to me in 2020 that, you know, some of them I feel like I let happen. Some of them I was complicit in. Some of it was completely out of my control. And he's like, dude, like, you know, you can get back there. You just keep going, you know, just, you know, whatever. Why are you thinking about that when we could be gossiping, you know? You know,
but like, why are you ignoring the first half of the sentence that you just said? Like, I had COVID, I had this, I had, like, I mean, like, yeah, right?
And,
like, I mean, that's
all
like
I can think of is
why
like,
can't
this
I
is
lift
all
after
my
not being
fault.
up?
Like,
right.
This is all my fault. Right back to like when I first started therapy, and my therapist was like, well, don't you think that there's some sort of systemic influence in why you made the choices that you did with your diet? And I'm like, no, this is all my fault. It's all my fault. I did this to myself. Everything I ate, I chose. She's like, don't you think the system had anything to do with it at all? Like, for weeks we had this conversation, and finally I was like, fine. Maybe I was manipulated. Maybe there was manipulative marketing involved. Well, what's the system gonna do for me now? I gotta do all the work to fix this shit. She's like, wow. She's like, you really need to cut yourself some slack. I'm like, what's the point of that? That's just that.
Right?
You know what I sound like, you know, like it's just ridiculous. Like,
yeah, you sound like me.
Just beaten up and just like, where's my little thing to just flagellate.
But I mean, this is again, like, you know, it's our fault. Like, we do this to ourselves. Like, we don't have willpower. We can't control. We have no control. Blah, blah, blah. If we wanted this, it would happen. If you would just put your mind to it, you would get it done. And it's like, it's so much more nuanced and complicated.
And then letting go of that shameful, punishing, blame voice in your head. It's almost like, well, then if you don't punish yourself, then who's going to hold you responsible? Who's going to hold you accountable? And the thing that I really want to get across to anybody who comes across this and hears this is that you don't have to be ashamed, and you don't have to blame yourself to fix this. Right. You don't have to live with shame and blame. That doesn't have to be the motivator to get better. It doesn't have to be your motivator to lose weight or to whatever your issue is, to get off drugs or to get out of whatever bad situation you're in.
Right.
Blame, shame, guilt, all of those things, those don't have to be your motivator. Like, whatever your situation is. For me, it's my binge eating disorder. Yes, I choose all the foods that. Hi, Dad. Hi, guy.
Hey, hi, guy. What's
Thanks
up?
for coming in.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Hope you're well. Yeah. Go ahead.
That doesn't have to be it.
Right.
You are free to let that go and still make the changes in your life that you want to see made in your life. All the work does fall on you, but there are resources and there is support out there for you. There are links in our description boxes where you can get help, and you don't have to do it by yourself, and you don't have to be shamed at any point in this. You know, you can let go of that too. You can let go of all of that too and have success and move forward in your life.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if you made changes like this not because you're ashamed of yourself, but because you love yourself.
Yeah. Because you felt like you deserved.
You're never taught if you're fat or have any kind of weird issue, I don't know. Like, oh, I'm going to speak from fat. Like, we're never taught to love ourselves. Like, that's never something. We're constantly being told that there's something wrong with us, right? We don't look right. It's our fault. You should feel shame for this. You should blame yourself. And I look at my kids and I see these two girls who just think that they are the fucking bee's knees, man. And like, nobody's going to tell them any differently. Nobody's going to, they don't give a shit what you think about them because they think they're awesome. And I'm like, I am not in any way, shape, or form stopping that from happening. Because even if they turns out that they have issues or something and they need to get help, I want them to get help in a sense that they love themselves and are doing it with love, not at all the perspective where I came from at it at all. Because it's, they may try and fail several times, but I guarantee that if they came with it from that approach, they would never fail as many times as I have in my life with this.
And all of their failures would be lessons that help them do better the next time instead of a failure.
It would just be like this try or this take or this round, right? Or this attempt. Let me correct you for a moment. Don't think they're awesome. They know it. I mean, like, my Ava just walks around the house like she's the big, like, fucking shit, man. And like, I'm just like, okay. Like, I see her, she'll look at herself in the mirror and she'll be like, she is just, it is hysterical. And I am just looking at her like, wow, I wonder if I ever had this much confidence in myself ever, like, as this 5-year-old child does. But I think it is, but like, you know what it is though? It's like, I can't remember ever having that. So I almost wonder if it's like I was, but then like I was told to be put on a diet when I was 7 years old and it just all went downhill from there. Like, just crashed down. I mean, it's a really interesting thing. That, like, I had another conversation this weekend or this week with like my mom, and she had said something about like, kids can't have the same kind of, she's like, they can't have the same kind of childhood that you had with those kids teasing you and making fun of you. It was awful, awful, awful. And I'm just like, I don't even think my kids would give a shit if somebody said something to them. Like, the only reason I probably cared was because I actually thought what they said was true. Like, because, I was hearing it in other places that weren't actually out of the house. Right. So, it's really interesting to watch, like, having children and watching and doing this. It's really, really fascinating to watch when your children are growing up and to see just how kids are just so like they don't get fucked up until we fuck them up, right? I mean, that's how I feel. Like, they're not going to get fucked up until I do something to make them feel like what they are or how they feel or what they're doing is wrong. And barring all the normal things that they should not be doing or saying or feel or whatever, like, I'm not going to tell them not to do so. Like, they're just them. And I'm like, you know, watching them be them is like the most enlightening thing ever to me, because I'm just like, wow, like, goddamn, like, whoa, have I just like, like, you know, wow, if this had happened, if this was the approach that was taken, like, we might not be here right now, and you know. So, I mean, they'll have a whole bunch of other shit that they'll fuck them up later, and they'll be on a couch telling them about how crazy their parents were, but you know, they're not going to hear anything about their body, about food, about anything like that, their body image, how they should feel about their body, how they should give a shit about what anybody else feels about their body. And they're definitely not going to get blamed there's definitely not going to be something they're going to blame themselves for and feel any shame about it. That, like I said, I lost 95 pounds as a male. I can say there's issues too. I've only become successful when I wanted to be healthy. It's not a body image as more than, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And, you know, last week we had, the 2 shows we had last week. One, we specifically talked about how refreshing it was to hear a guy talk about all the issues they had with their body image and body dysmorphia and a binge eating disorder. So we had talked about a specific case. We absolutely believe, support, know, embrace 100% that this is not a female-only situation. It's painted to be a female-only situation because I guess it's easier to prey on female emotions or whatever. I have no idea, but it's absolutely not.
Well, so because women spend more money.
Yeah, right.
Women spend more money in this industry. Like,
yeah. But it's also tied to so many other things, like fashion, makeup, like all this shit. Like everything that's about being a woman is tied to this. But, you know, so we talked about the just absolute refreshingness that it was to hear this guy talk about his body dysmorphia, his eating disorder. And you might want to go back and watch it. It was, it the language one? I can't remember which one. It was like either one of last week's. It wasn't labor. It might have been language.
We have such a good discussions.
I know. But like, it was fantastic because he actually discussed this in a sense of what led him to taking steroids, and he OD'd on steroid, on a steroid that is actually typically fatal. So he lived through the overdose to talk about it, to tell the story. So it was actually, you know, to see it from that perspective was really, really eye-opening and just felt really good for a change. And, you know, and just to be like, yeah, you know, we're not so different. We see, you know, there's different standards, but at the same time, we all feel the same. We can all feel the same way about our bodies, like whether it's positive, negative, whatever. And then we had another discussion, which was the language. I can't remember which one it was. It was the one about
language. But it was the one that said this is the domain of women, and I wanted to punch that author in the face.
It was about the talking to your partner about weight. So it was L is for lovers. Okay. So the L, I have it up here. The L for language is the one where we talk about the male with the body dysmorphia. And then the one, I'll take the L is for lovers, is the one where we talked about, it was hysterical, but we got the point across that there are ways to approach partners and talk about weight loss with each other and, you know, bring up topics like this that are not demeaning and make you feel awful. And a whole one of them was, and to help people be successful. So like we're talking about partners or friends who are trying to be supportive. And we said, you know, and what you just said was, there's a world of a difference between saying to somebody, I want to lose weight so I could be healthier, so I can grow older with my family, versus you really need to lose weight because you're starting to look like a fucking fat ass, which is essentially like the two sides of it. And that was a really good conversation because that was an interesting topic and article that really kind of drove home that message of the right way and the wrong way to support. And then the other interesting part was like what to do when, you know, one of you wants to lose weight and the other one doesn't. And how do you approach a partner who needs to lose weight. But anyway, Lori. So yeah,
Lori.
definitely check that out. That one I thought was funny. Like I really, it was very serious, but it was very funny. We laughed a lot because this was just an unbelievable article that we kind of came across. So this poor guy just got raked over the coals
by his loving
wife. But yeah, like, again, it's the same thing as letting go. Again, it's like you're letting go of this shame and self-loathing and self-blame for everything. And, I realize that I do it because of how I've been conditioned to feel about myself from an early age. And I refuse to do that to my children. I will not do that to my children. They can have a completely different set of issues to hate me for. They're not going to hate me for these particular issues. But it's hard. It's really, really hard to admit that, maybe you're holding on to something that you've thought was the right answer or correct situation for yourself for so many years. And then you're like, but you know what? It's not. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe this is where it is. It's not going to be what I thought it was going to be for the last, 30 years. It's going to be this, and this has got to be okay, because it is okay, right? Like, things are good here. Like, this isn't a bad place to be, right? Like, so it's really, really difficult. And
well, I can't even begin to imagine where my end spot would be. Like, even when I was actively working towards weight loss, I had no idea. Like, I wouldn't even imagine a weight outside of the 200s. Like, I wouldn't even imagine myself in a weight outside, because I couldn't even imagine it. Like, because there's so much more to it, like weight loss surgery and do I have skin surgery? Do I have it? Do I not? What's my body going to look like? And
if you're in a high end weight, if you're in a 300, 400 pound weight area, the difference in 100 and 200 pounds is a tremendous difference. Like, it's enormous impact on your health and the way you physically feel. And it's a huge difference in the way you look. Yes. So, like, I always kept saying, like, people are like, what's your goal? And I'm like, 150. And I always straight out say, I have no fucking idea what I'm going to look like at 150 if I get there, because I've never weighed anywhere near 150 since I was like, 8 years old. So I have no freaking clue. But like, I know what I looked like at 425 and versus what I look like now. And I look completely fucking different, and I feel completely different. And if that number happens to be 180, 185, that's just what it's going to be. Like, and that's because it's a huge fucking difference. So if you're going from like 400 to 200, like, that's huge. That's, that's 200 pounds. Even if you go from 4 to 3, that's still a huge thing.
I'll take it.
It's the bottom line is it's your quality of life. And if you're happy with the quality you have, that's what you have.
I tell my therapist all the time, like, I would take a 30-pound weight loss and be so happy to just lose 30 pounds, knowing how much how much pressure that would take off of my joints, how much of my lymphedema that would alleviate, how much easier it would be for me to just get up and down the stairs in my apartment building. Like, but I am letting go of weight loss for a while. And that means every single solitary gram. I'm just not working on it. I'm just going to work on not binging. And if there's weight loss that comes with that, then it comes with it. But I don't get on the scale. Like, my scale, Irene is somewhere where I don't pull her out, and she just doesn't talk to me right now. And like, she talked to me when I was sick with COVID, because I just knew I was losing weight because I was laying in the bed all the time, not eating. Like, so I talked to her. We talked. She told me nice things. And when she started saying stuff I didn't want to hear, I put her away again. Like, okay, bye. It was good to see you. We had a nice little reunion.
Yep.
it, and now I'm back to doing what I need to do because I'm working on recovery.
It's like the article we were just talking about. This guy had binge eating disorder, and he made it very, very clear that he started lifting weights and dropped a shit ton of weight, but he never addressed his binge eating disorder. He never changed his diet. So when he stopped exercising, he gained all his weight back, obviously. Binging out of control. Right. And then it started the cycle. And then to the point where he hit his like, he plateaued because I'm sorry, but again, you can work out as much as you want, but if you're going to eat, it's what you're putting in your body. And, you're never going to, you're going to have to be in a deficit if you're going to lose weight. And he just didn't sound to me like he was ever in a deficit. He was just one of these people that was very lucky to drop a lot of weight and then like maintain. But he got so aggravated that he plateaued. That's when he started going for the steroids, right? And that created, this is where the path that led him. And he even said now, like in his recovery, he's addressing his eating disorder because he never once in like this 10-year period that this was going on in his life even thought to address his diet.
Right.
Like never thought to do it. So, for you to say, well, I'm going to control my binging, to me, that's like, that's exactly what needs to happen. Like, it doesn't matter. You can have, like you can have weight loss surgery tomorrow. If you still haven't dealt with your binge eating disorder, the fuck that's going to help you. Right. I mean,
so I'm just going to binge again. Like I could go for months. I could go for months and months and not, I could follow a diet for months and months and months, or I did intermittent fasting where I only ate one meal a day. I mean, that meal was a binge. It was a binge every single day, but whatever, right? It was one meal a day. I did fast where I wouldn't eat for days. I would go for 5, 6, 7 days.
Yeah. And your body thought it was starving to death.
Repeatedly, I would do that. But what's the point? Like, what's the point? Like, and now here I am, 100 pounds heavier, like, great. Congratulations. Like, and I did this to myself. But what did I do? Like, I listened, L is for listening. I listened to fucktards on social media talking about, oh, you can do a 20-day water fast and it's so good for you and you're going to cleanse your colon. And, I listened to, whatever, keto this, keto that. I did all these things that I had no idea that I was, just aggravating this condition that I've been dealing with for probably 10 years, like, I just didn't know I had binge eating disorder. Like, if I'd have known I had this great insurance and I could have been dealing with this.
Well, I think, another letting go thing is that I think, have to let go of this idea that this is normal. Like whatever you're experiencing is normal, because it very well might not be. You very well might have an eating disorder or some kind of fucked up relationship with food that you need to have addressed. And just because it's the norm that you've had for your whole life, doesn't mean that it's the correct norm or it's not unhealthy for you. If, like if you're constantly, trying to change and it's not changing for you and you keep falling back into a pattern, like maybe there's something there that's prohibiting you from being successful. And that's okay. Like, that's fine. That's not a big deal. Like, admitting that there's something wrong and admitting that you might need help to deal with it is not a problem. But I think like we are so, conditioned or it's so important to us to hold on to like, this is normal for us. It's completely normal. And my normal is definitely different than your normal, but it's still normal. But my normal is really, really, really different than your normal, or most people's normal. That's how, so, there's got to be a point where you have to consider, like, do I need help? Like, is there something going on here that like possibly I could get some help with and get some, find out what is actually happening and, get rid of this, deal with whatever issue it is. Because, it's not always something that we do to ourselves or can do to undo ourselves or whatever, it's sometimes we need the help to get it and to recognize it. I so need to show my wife this fasting stuff just tells your body it's in famine mode. She wants to lose the weight and don't want her caught in a fat. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's, that's the thing. Like, I know that we've kind of made fun of calories in, calories out today because we were talking about, but like, I mean, that's the reality. Like, that is it. Like, I keep telling people when on my other podcast and on my other videos in my YouTube channel, when I talk about weight loss and specifically weight loss, I always say there's no magic pill, potion, lotion, anything that's going to help you. Like, there's not anything like that. So barring any kind of disordered eating or relationship that you have with food, it's all about the amount you eat versus the amount you expend. It really is that. Like, I know we say we hate hearing that because it simplifies a whole thing, and it's not that way for everybody. Yes, like I said earlier, there's like 27 asterisks on that. But for people who are healthy and need to lose weight, that is what it is. So, no matter what you do, whatever you put in your mouth is going to show up on the scale, whether it comes that day, whether it comes a week from now, whatever you're putting in your mouth is going to show up on the scale. So it really is you're in versus out. So, it is, you have to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So you can, no amount of fat, you can fast, but that's exactly what you said. You're going to trigger a famine response and you're going to probably want to binge. There's
I'll say this about fasting, because people binge, like people overeat. Everybody overeats, regardless of your weight, regardless of your relationship with food. Everybody overeats. Like everybody doesn't have, anybody who's had a holiday dinner has overeaten, right? Like we've all had the L-tryptophan coma at Thanksgiving, if you sell it, whatever. So I'm not gonna trash fasting. I'm just not. Like, Muslim people do it every year at Ramadan, and they don't necessarily, all Muslims don't binge, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. I'll say this: if somebody wants to binge, I'm sorry, not if somebody wants to binge, if somebody wants to fast, and if you want to use fasting as a way to lose weight, please, for the love of God, go to your doctor and get your doctor on board. There are plenty of doctors out there who will help you with this, who will monitor you, who will stay, they'll because your doctor is not your boss. Your doctor is your teammate, your doctor. There are plenty of doctors out there who will work with you. I personally would recommend, if you need to lose weight, go see a weight loss doctor, especially if you're going to fast. Go see a weight loss doctor and get pre-assessed to make sure you don't have some sort of disordered eating or eating disorder, because it's just so dangerous to fast. Because for me, it really did trigger a whole lot of binging behavior. It would be terrible. It would just be terrible for somebody to just blindly go into fasting and find out that they have binging tendencies and that it led you down this path. I think it's highly irresponsible, like all these people out here just saying willy-nilly fasting is great for everybody and nobody has any bad benefits from fasting. That's just not true. It's just not true. I can't believe how many people are, even doctors. If a doctor doesn't say you should be fasting and you can intermittent fast and just 16-8 and all this other stuff, I call bullshit. Go to your doctor. And if your doctor doesn't want to work with you, go to another doctor. There are plenty of doctors who will work with you. Fasting is a safe process when you work with your doctor.
I don't mean to sound like a dick either, but if for those of us who get 8 hours of sleep a night, that is a fast.
It is a fast.
I don't mean to be a jerk, but there's a reason why breakfast is called break fast. You're breaking. I mean, you are fasting overnight.
There's nothing
if you're
wrong
sleeping,
with,
you're fasting.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with eating your breakfast at 10 o'clock in the morning, or I often
I eat breakfast at 10, 11 because I'm not a morning eater.
And I know what time you get up in the morning. I often have my coffee and then don't eat until noon. And it's not good for me because of what I'm working on, but that's for me. But I just like fasting triggers me because
Right,
my
right,
history
yeah.
with it. But like I'm not gonna crap all over fasting. I think fasting is a beautiful thing. It's a spiritual thing. It can bring you closer to your God, to your however you worship, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm not gonna crap all over it. But just if you're gonna do it regularly, just see your doctor. Let your doctor know and check in with your doctor. And if you're gonna do it for weight loss, go to a weight loss doctor first and just get assessed. Just there's 5 little questions that a doctor will ask you to assess you for an eating disorder that most primary doctors don't ask yet. And it's becoming a more common practice, but if you can go to a weight loss doctor just for that little quick assessment, like it can save your life, and it can prevent you from ending up in my spot.
Right.
And nobody wants to be brown girl but brown girl,
No.
Everybody wants
There's
to be
only
brown
one brown
girl.
girl.
Everybody wants to be brown girl until it's
and the
time
other
to
thing
be
is,
brown.
like, the reality of it is that, you need to fuel your body, and you need to have there's nutrition involved in that also.
Yes.
So, I think a lot of times when we hear fasting, we also think like, oh, when I can eat, I can eat. So
Yes.
I mean, there's a method.
Did.
There's a method to the madness there. So I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of fasting. I will put it out there. I'm not going to dog on anybody. It's just not my chosen. I am a fan of being in a calorie deficit, knowing how many calories I'm going to eat, having a calorie limit for each, like knowing my daily caloric limit, eating within that, getting high protein. That's my thing. Because I also exercise quite a bit. So I know for my body and for what I'm doing, fasting is probably not going to be perfect for me because I like to lift heavy things a lot. Yeah. So I need as much energy as possible to do that. And I need to also have nutrition to repair my body after I'm done. So, again, I think it is a thing with like, see your doctor because you can figure out what works best, what's going to work best for you. I'm not a fan of fad diets, I guess. I don't think I don't feel like fasting's a fad diet. I just feel like it's the way it's treated in a lot of social media. It's presented as like this really easy, cool thing that you can do. That's,
Yes.
And I mean, I feel the same way about keto. Like, I'm not really like a fan of putting your body into a state of ketosis either, but that's my opinion. Like, other people it works really well. I'm just kind of like, I
liked keto because it made sense to me, and I didn't have a problem with giving up the carbs. Like, it just made it, for whatever reason, it really clicked for me, and I just didn't have a problem with the transition over to that particular style of eating. Like, because I could keep the cheese and I could keep the bacon, like it worked for me. But
I think I've been on so many diets my entire life that at the stage that I got really serious about it was I wanted to do it as quote unquote naturally as possible, which meant to deal with the reality of what my eating situation was like, which was I did not want to cut out any kind of food groups or anything like that. I knew that I had a tendency to overeat, especially emotionally based overeating, and that I just am, when I'm given a framework to work within, I am better that way. So I am actually somebody who's very successful when you say you're going to be on a 1,700 calorie diet every day or 1,800 calorie diet every day, and I can plug it in and keep track of my thing. And that's fine. Like, I work that way great because you can pretty much kind of fit in any kind of eating you want. I choose to eat a certain way that fits into that is my own way, again, based on stop making fun of my
I won't do it. Where's Scott?
But it works for me. Like, you have to, for my particular lifestyle choice of exercise, it works for you. And based on whatever you want to do, you got to figure out what works for you. So I
struggle with. Oh, go ahead.
It's like my approach to dieting and exercising is to do what works best with your lifestyle. So I always tell people when they ask about exercise, I'm always just like, my biggest thing is find something you like to do. Like, that's all. I know it sounds pat and you hear it a lot, but it's true. Like, if you find something you enjoy doing, you're going to do it. So whether you like going for a walk every day, whatever it is, find something you like, move around, move for 30 minutes. It's better than sitting, not doing a damn thing, right? And then you got to control your food. And again, with that, I say whatever works best for your lifestyle and for what your situation is. Sitting here nodding with you two, my diet switched more to a grazer when I switched to cannabis, and it works wonders for me. Yeah, well, you know, it's funny you should say that, because I obviously am on a very kind of scheduled, kind of regimented kind of diet, like food thing. Like I eat my meals, and my kids are grazers. Like there is no like, we're going to eat, when they're hungry, they want whatever we've adapted the kitchen and refrigerator to accommodate that. So they have their snack drawers where they have like cheese and fruit and all the shit that they want. They can get the cereal when they want. So they're like complete grazers. And they'll come down and ask for something. Like my oldest will come down at like 8:00 at night and be like, I want macaroni and cheese. And we'll give it to her because she knows she hasn't eaten a lot all day. Right. So we're very much, and I know that there's a lot to be, like I said, I've said this before, we try to have a sit down dinner at least once a week. We're always together. So it's not like there's no family time. But I kind of like the idea of allowing my kids to follow their natural feeding and hunger cues. So if they're grazing, I'm like, that's cool. You know, if my kid can come down at 8:00 at night, eat macaroni and cheese, and then go to bed at 9:30 and have not have heartburn, more power to you. Like, more power to you. Like, go for it. I can't do that. But if you can, God bless you. Because I just don't want to instill any kind of weird food, anything. And I don't want to fuck up anything that's naturally what they are. Like I have one daughter who is a toothpick, and I have another daughter built like me. They both graze. They both have, like, you know, I look at my youngest, her body type is exactly my body type. Exactly. So I watch her and we talk about it, but she thinks like she's the shit, and I'm never going to tell her that she's not beautiful. I want her to love the shape of her body. I won't want anyone to tell her that her body's not attractive or she should be ashamed of her body. I mean, I had all that shit thrown on me, and it did not serve me well in life. So I will not do that to her. And I'm certainly not going to police every fucking piece of food she puts in her mouth. And I'm not going to change a natural instinct for her when she feels like they're great. They're going to graze. That's the bottom line. And, you know, to an extent, like my husband is too, like we all just kind of like, we try to have a meal, but we're like, we're not hungry. I'm not hungry. Like, cause everybody eats something. And, you know, I had a salad like an hour before we came on the air, and I'm not hungry. Like, so like, you know, I don't, I'm not going to change that. So it's really got to be about what works for you. I go back to this. It's like whatever fits your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle is that you can eat a meal at 3:00 in the morning because you're wide awake and you're living, then go for it. Like, I mean, if that's what's going to keep you from overeating or binge eating or not eating, you know, then do it. Like there, you know, I think we feel like, I think that's the other L I want to end on here, the letting go. We have to let go of these like preconceived notions that there are all sorts of rules to this, because there aren't all sorts of rules to this. There are very few, barring the metabolic ones. Like there's nobody saying you can only eat between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Or, you know,
that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Like babies are born and they tell you when they're hungry. So they
eat all night. Last time I checked, I was up at 4:00 in the morning with both of them eating, right? I mean,
but you latch them on and they eat, and then they spit it out when they're done, right? And then all of a sudden you put them on this schedule, and then they go to school and they're like, nope. You ate breakfast before you came, you get a snack at 10, you get lunch at noon, you get a snack at 2, and then you go home and eat dinner when your mom tells you. Like, just
to reiterate this whole grazing thing, do you know, like the first year that they were both in school, do you know how many days they came home every fucking day and with their lunch boxes full because they didn't want to eat when they were supposed to eat? They ate like they picked at whatever because they got 2 snacks at school and lunch. And we would fill, and then like, because they wouldn't eat sandwich, my kids have such fucked up eating, they don't like anything, so we would give them literally like a little buffet. They'd have crackers, they'd have cheese, they'd have fruit, and like they would pick at whatever they felt like eating. And the teachers would always be like, they didn't really eat their lunch. And I'm like, well, you know, when they come home, they'll eat it. They eat it on the way home in the car. I'm like, you know, they're eating. Like, that's all I can care about. So like, you know, that's what it is. That's the way it is.
Yep. And that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. If your kid's hungry, let them eat. And when they're not, they're not. And if they don't clean their plate, they don't clean their plate. Yeah, and if they do, they do. And I didn't know that. Like if I had known that, like if I had been that intuitive about food when my child was younger, I would have given her that freedom. And I just wish that I had known. Like, and if she ever has kids, like I'm gonna tell her this, like just give your kid a break and let them eat when they want to eat and let them eat as much as they want to eat. They'll stop when they're ready, and that's enough. And it's okay.
Don't make the food a negotiation tactic or bargaining chip either. Yeah. Like I know a lot of people who are like, if you take 2 more bites of this, you can like just don't. Like just don't. I mean, I know that there's probably some child psychologist or nutritionist sitting there screaming right now watching this, but I can tell you as somebody who was obese their entire life, don't do these kind of things, because this is how you're setting your kids up to have really fucked up kind of situations with food. Nobody should feel
suck overall. Like
nobody should feel like they have to eat anything to get, you know, like they shouldn't have to feel like they have to eat in order to get something else. That is the way it is. Like, you know, we need to take a lot of this baggage off of eating and food. Like it's, you know, and the thing, that's the part that cracks me up. I was thinking about while we were talking earlier is like, you know, I grew up in a household where food meant a lot. Like there was a lot thrown on food. It was gathering, it was people, it was the like expression of love. And it still is in my family, but it's not going to become a bad thing. And it's not going to become something that is like the center of our world, because it's not. I would like to like have it be where we need food to live, and it's something that we give our bodies to make us feel good. But at the same time, you know, we can use it to celebrate something. Like if it's your birthday, like, you know, I don't want to put a lot of emotional baggage on food. A lot of unnecessary meaning on
the bear food. Just took the bear is like, no.
The bear's like, I'm done.
I need to celebrate food. No.
I think Dave just did that. So this seems like a really good place to wrap this up. Since we've gone for
this is another good one.
It's another good one, guys. So again, thank you for everybody in the chat that came and the lurkers. We see you, even, you know, we appreciate you. We love your support and your interaction. We love having these discussions with you guys. We love hearing your thoughts and your feedback on it. If you enjoy this kind of content or are enjoying what we're doing here, please consider supporting our stream. I have at the bottom we do now have Venmo and Cash App. Woo! Every single penny that we get goes back right into the stream. It's not, you know,
right into the research.
We're not retiring on this or anything like that.
It's all about the research.
Any kind of research, equipment upgrades, anything like that. So if you are liking what you are hearing, consider it. It's not a must. I just like to throw that out there. If you are not following us, if you're not following us on Twitch, please change that. And
hi, Guy. Thank you for coming through, though. It's great to see you.
I'll talk to you later.
I hope your wife watches this and enjoys it.
And I hope I see you again on Wednesday. I don't know what our topic is yet, though. So
it'll be something with an L.
Yeah, something with an L. If you're not following us on Twitch already, please go ahead and fix that. Hit that follow button for it's on my name, Pigs in Space. So follow that account where this is. We can get to affiliate status, which would be awesome, and we could give like some more fun stuff to you guys to like help to interact with. That would be great. If you are not subscribed to us on YouTube, the channel is I'll Take the L. It is linked it's either linked in the description or linked off of the Twitch page. So we are a presence there. It was formerly the Last 50. It's now I'll Take the L because I'm doing
I just noticed that. I know. I'm enjoying that. Like, I'm enjoying this content I'm enjoying this content way more than the other content.
So to tell you the God's honest truth. So
I'm really enjoying being your sidekick.
I love it.
It's a lot of fun.
You're not a sidekick. You're a host. Stop. So So if you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel there, please. Follow us here. If you're looking for interesting content on Twitch, if you're new to Twitch and looking for something, we support a whole host of streamers, gamers, DJs. They're linked below. Please check them out. We thank them for all the support that they give us and shout outs and all the wonderful encouragement and help that they've thrown at us. So we really appreciate that. We will be back on Wednesday for our next one. And I think, you know what, Angie, I think we're going to have a game night this week. I think we're going to kick it off. I think
we're going to kick it off.
I'm thinking Sunday we're going to have a game night. So if you want to shoot the shit about something else, like an open kind of forum topic kind of thing, bring it. We'll be playing games and you can play too. It'll be it's interactive. We will obviously start talking shit before, until somebody changes the topic. But, if you want to come along, I think I'm going to see if we can play. We're either going to play like a word game or we're going to play trivia. I don't know which one yet. I have to figure it out, decide. But that'll probably be on Sunday. We'll know more Wednesday because I will have all that. We'll have that worked out for you. Okay. But, yeah, so we're going to do that. So that'll be some fun to get away from all of our research and data and all that stuff, and just to talk about something else, talk about whatever's going on social media, talk about what's on TV, talk about television. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to talk about, we'll talk about.
We'll figure something out.
Angie and I can talk about anything. So
seriously,
we're seriously. Okay, if you have a topic,
or we could just look at Gladys.
Yeah, we could. If you have a topic,
she just bit me again.
Oh, my dog's barking.
Stop biting me.
If you have a topic or suggestion for a topic for the show, please get in touch with us. You can leave it in the comments. You can also, if you're on Twitch, you can find our email address there. Reach out, let us know. Just leave a comment. We love to hear from you. And I think that is all of it, right? I think that's all the closing. Angie, it's been fantastic as always.
Always.
And I will catch you. I'm sure I'll talk to you later, but I will see you on Wednesday. Have a good Tuesday and the rest of your night. Everybody, same. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thankfully, it's ending. Have a great Tuesday, and we will catch you on Wednesday at 5 Pacific. Bye, guys.
Bye.